about gold. Wait. All right. Listen. No joke. I kind of did a soft talk about this yesterday. It's time because the price of gold has gotten so absurd. It broke 4,300 the other day. Now it's down a little bit, but over the past year, it has gotten so absurd. It is going near vertical lately.
At the moment of editing the video, gold has dropped 3.67%.
And so I wanted to talk about gold. Now, obviously, about a year ago, I made a video about gold as I was putting my NVIDIA stock that I sold. I put 15% of my net worth into gold about a year ago. Now, there's a video I think would be really interesting to watch right here.
Price of gold
closing above $4,000
is having a moment.
This explains what could happen next.
Metal is having a moment. Not this kind, though, sadly.
Gold hits another record.
Spot gold prices have climbed above $4,000 an ounce for the first time.
The key word is scared.
During times of economic and political and financial turbulence, you buy the dollar, you buy US treasuries, you seek safety.
Not so much now. Now you buy gold.
What we're seeing at the moment is not like anything really that we've seen over the last couple of decades.
In October, gold extended its already furious run from last year and showed few signs of abating.
This gold rally really looks.
I just want to say, like this is signaling something because the stock market is also at all-time highs. It's pretty rare, extremely rare, for gold to be rising so rapidly at the same time as the stock market is doing well, as like everything seemingly is doing well. That's not normal. Usually they kind of move in inverse of each other. Normally, if the stock market was doing super well and everything was good, the gold market would be doing poorly. But this is different. It's signaling something.
Unstoppable at this time.
Excitement is evident online, on shopping streets, and in capital markets.
Just gold the whole time.
Chinese mining company Zijin Gold recently raised $3.2 billion in one of the year's biggest IPOs. But it's not just a gold rally. Look at silver. In October, it reached its highest price per ounce in more than 4 decades.
I think it is a warning sign that people are very anxious.
I want to pause here too. Look.
4 decades.
Look at that. I mean, it can fall just as quickly as it rises, okay? Just to be clear. Like during times of stress, this stuff can go really high up. But then if the system doesn't, if it stabilizes, if inflation gets under control, if all this shit could happen, it can fall, right? I just want you to understand. I want that to be super clear.
I think it is a warning sign that people are very anxious.
Gold is the ultimate safe haven asset, a heart rate monitor, if you will, the health of the global financial system.
And because of that, when you see a spike in the gold price, your first question should really be what's gone wrong?
Yeah, what's gone wrong?
Gold is the ultimate precious metal. It's been around since the beginning of time. Gold has seen it all and has survived through it all, and it probably will continue to do so.
Because it's reliable, easy to trade, and high value, despite lacking the intrinsic utility of a semiconductor or shipping container full of these things.
Gold has outperformed equities, it's outperformed.
Wait, what if I sell all my gold and buy a huge storage facility full of Labubus? That's gonna hold its fucking value. That'd be fucking sick. Smart move. And Magic the Gathering cards? Okay. What about one giant Labubu?
Almost every other asset class, if you take your starting point at 2,000.
It is the...
Well, sorry, I am getting off topic here, but I saw a guy. I don't want to make fun of the guy, but it was such an embarrassing post. This guy. This guy. This is the most embarrassing post I ever see from crypto Twitter. Okay, I'm sorry to make fun of his appearance a little bit, but I got to, dude. This guy posted 43 years old, new girlfriend, new yacht, no kids, crypto millionaire. Does it get any better than this? And he had this, the comments were like, you have a Joe Camel ass face, which he does. And then he's wearing a fucking Labubu. That's what really stuck in my fucking head. He's wearing a fucking Labubu, and then the fucking community note is the woman in the photo is not his girlfriend. She was a model who was hired to take photos. Oh my God. That's brutal. That's so brutal, dude. Imagine needing validation this badly. You got a fake girlfriend and you're wearing a labubu with the, I don't understand, bro. You know the boat's rented, or is he standing and he's not on the boat, I notice. Also, like, bragging on fucking x.com that you got no kids with. Look, it's your choice. People have a different choice on whether they want kids or not, but I think that's wild. Maidenless, yachtless, kidless, yeah.
One asset that does very well when the typical parts of your portfolio go down.
It breached $1,000 during the global financial crisis, $2,000 during COVID, and $3,000 after the Trump administration's tariff announcements, which perhaps was a wake-up call.
Thanks, Big T.
The dollar for many, many years has been seen as the haven of the market because people trust the US government and they trust dollar assets.
Welcome to 2025.
The dollar is the single biggest decline in 6 months in 50 years. Gold is at record highs.
And here's what that looks like. This gold line, because why would it be any other color, shows how much the metal has increased in value since January. The green line shows the dollar's depreciation over the same period.
Right. And just to be clear, if you're holding a stock that's only up 10%, then you really have had no gain because that's just the dollar depreciating by 10%. Like, you have to be beating this line. You have to be going up more than this line is going down to actually be making real gains.
That discrepancy reflects what's called the debasement trade.
It is the idea that faith and trust in the dollar is no longer what it once was. So you have investors looking at other assets.
People do that trade when they are losing their confidence in traditional government bonds and fiat currencies.
And in that situation...
Yeah, the broad takeaway here is more than just the Ukraine-Russia thing. It's like people are losing faith in the dollar and there is no other currency they could go to. If there was, if the Chinese RMB was a truly useful reserve currency, which it's not because of all the capital controls that China puts on its money. But if it was, then maybe you wouldn't see so much gold. You would see shifting from US dollar, like the way that the money shifted from the pound sterling to the US dollar. You would see more of that. But what I've been saying, and this was the argument I made to Eisman on the show, was like, well, if there is no better alternative than the dollar, but the dollar is scary because it's getting devalued and it's not good, people might go to gold. Central banks might go to gold. The world might go more to gold because they have no other good opportunity.
Gold becomes quite appealing because there is no counterparty. It's just you and your gold.
It's independent from the government's influence as well.
Which is no longer something investors automatically say about the dollar or the US central bank.
So the Federal Reserve has long been seen as kind of a bulwark of global financial stability. It has cherished independence from the political system in the US. Now, the pressure on the Fed from the White House and President Trump has thrown that whole dynamic.
Dude, I love this. This is so good.
Pressure on the Fed from the White House.
His face. This is such a funny clip. You might have seen it because we talked about it on the channel, but if you haven't seen it, it's him talking about cost overruns for this construction. And he's just lying. He's just lying about like other buildings that were already built. And he's calling him out in real time. And then he pulls out a paper that has like the itemized receipt on it. And shows it. It was so, I mean, it was great. It was a great clip.
And President Trump has thrown that whole dynamic into question.
Am I allowed to appoint myself at the Fed? I do a much better job than these people.
How sustainable is the Fed's position, given the position?
The beautiful thing about gold, really, for me, is that every time Trump does something truly insane economically, I can be upset as a countryman, but I can check my account and feel better. Whereas if I was holding something else in dollars, I would feel nervous.
That President Trump is taking, given the pressure he's putting on the Fed to lower interest rates.
If the Fed is slashing interest rates all the time,
that makes gold more appealing because unlike cash, it doesn't actually obviously yield interest. And so when interest rates are lower, gold becomes relatively more appealing. But on the other hand, you have inflation that makes gold appealing as a hedge.
And inflation's back on investors' minds as Trump's tariffs risk driving prices higher around the world.
So that's kind of a heads I win, tails you lose scenario for gold.
Over the summer, the dollar fell to its weakest level in more than 3 years.
While there are different views on what's behind that weakness, the takeaway is that the US isn't seen as the trusted ally it once was.
What?
But
Fake
to find the
friends.
source of gold's rally, we need to look back further than Trump's second term. A pivotal moment for the metal was in 2022, after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
G7 countries.
You can say pre-watch, but my video on this is a year old. You can say pre-watch, but my video saying this exact thing is over a year old. Please go watch it, all right?
Froze the assets of the Russian central bank that were held in Europe.
That caused many countries around the world to think we need to diversify away from the dollar in order to shield ourselves against potential or future US sanctions, or at least getting caught up in the dragnet of those.
And by countries, we're talking central banks, which have been steadily adding to their gold reserves. In the early 2000s, they were selling a few hundred tons into the market every year.
They've flipped that now. They're buying about 1,000 tons a year.
Yes.
And for the third year in a row in 2024,
Yes!
according to the World Gold Council. China, India, Poland, and the Czech Republic have been among the biggest buyers.
China in particular has been probably the most important central bank buying gold over the last couple of years. It's the biggest consumer of gold in the world. It's the biggest producer of gold in the world. Really, gold is a China story.
People's Bank.
And, you know, China, more than any other country, would of course have incredible incentive to not let the US have any financial leverage over them. China wants to own as few dollars as possible. Now, they can't get off, they still own very many US treasuries. It's almost impossible to get out from completely. But they have on net been buying less and less and buying more and more gold because they want to decouple. They want to make sure they don't have, you know, the US dollar is one of America's greatest weapons. It's one of the greatest ways they can put leverage on another country. China would very much like to be completely out from under that. And I think, you know, whether it happens slowly or it happens all at once or whether it happens over a long time, that's the direction of travel. China was never going to go back to buying a fuck ton more US treasuries. They're just not going to do it because they never want to have that situation. Whether they love Trump or hate Trump or like the next guy or don't like the next guy, they just don't want to ever have that level of dependence. And so I think there is a strong, you know, wind at your back in this case.
Of China is trying to create or at least help to facilitate a world that's less dependent on the dollar. And one way of doing that for the PBOC is to reduce its holdings of the dollar, such as the US treasuries, and buy gold instead.
About halfway through the 20th century, the dollar became the world's reserve currency. If you want oil, you use dollars. If you want gold, you use dollars. If you want to exchange currencies, often the dollar sits in the middle of that transaction.
Even most of China's exports are settled in the dollar rather than the yuan.
The dollar made up nearly 3/4 of the world's foreign exchange reserves in 2000, but its share has been slipping since then. Pressure on the Fed, with tariffs, inflation, and sanctions in mind, it's prompted trading partners to look at the US and its currency in a different light.
People are concerned with geopolitical tensions, with...
By the way, that's one of the reasons.
In a different light.
Everyone knows my
It's
stance on Trump, but I think this is an under-discussed thing that he has just made so horrendously worse. And so I want to really harp on. It's one thing I harp on a lot. I think this is going to be one of his worst, most damaging, long-term, hard-to-undo legacies. I think no matter who else you get in office after him, the trend line that he has rapidly accelerated is reducing one of the US's greatest and most powerful strengths. And yeah, I find it to be, something incredibly short-sighted.
Trading partners to look at the US and its currency in a different light.
People are concerned with geopolitical...
It's not like this never would have happened, though. I want to be clear. Like I was talking about this. I mean, I bought this fucking shit before he even got into office, before even the election. It's not that this wasn't going to happen. It's that he has accelerated it to a degree where we're going to feel the impacts much sooner in our lives rather than a slow, ponderous decoupling. He's like massively sped it up with the trade war stuff.
Tensions with trade conflicts and Trump's chaotic tariff policies.
And again, feeds the idea that why.
But that is his only problem, right? MAGA? Yes, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still a diehard Trump guy and everything else. It's just this one thing where I have to break ranks, you know? Obviously, I'm not, it's just one fault. Everyone's got one fault. His is completely ruining the United States' global financial power status.
Why is the world settling trade in dollars? What alternatives do we have?
Demand for gold's also been boosted by gold-backed exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, which let investors bet on the metal's price without ever holding any.
Maybe they don't have access to buy gold bars or to.
The thing is, he could have reversed this by solidifying a trade block with the EU and Southeast Asia. He fucked everything up by turning all eyes against us. Well, I will say this. My opinions evolve as I learn more. One thing I talked about yesterday is like, that was my stance going in. He has basically done everything to fuck everything up. You know, other parties can fuck things up too. I feel like China's rare earth metal thing may have pushed a lot of these countries back towards the US, even when they didn't like Trump or his tariffs. I feel like Trump should have only tariffed China and tried to really focus hard to build alliances. And instead he did everything wrong and is being forced into that solution anyway. I feel like he checked every door. They were all wrong and ended up at the right door at the end. Larger things than him are almost forcing the hands of other countries into connection with the US, but it could have been so much better. I agree. But I will say that like the dependence on rare earth metals has scared a lot of like Japan. Reading Japan's thing at the latest G7 meeting was like, oh damn, this freaked them out.
Buy physical gold, but they have this access to ETFs.
September was the biggest month of inflows that we've seen in more than 3 years.
We saw that ETF inflows were 6 times larger than what a rates-based model predicts.
And remember, this trend doesn't just concern the precious metal King Midas once mistakenly transformed a daughter into. Although you shouldn't be that upset. She'd be worth a fortune right now.
Okay, you killed her daughter though, so.
Platinum and silver this year have rallied a lot more than gold.
Now there's a nuance that can get lost in the discussion about precious metals other than gold.
They're also useful. They're used in industry, they have real sources of demand. So those markets function a little bit differently than gold,
like copper
but they
and
tend to do really well when gold does well. It's partly about this debasement theme where people are worried about the ability of many developed economies to pay back their sovereign debts. And because of that, they're looking to other precious metals like platinum, like silver, and they're looking to cryptocurrencies.
Gold and to some degree Bitcoin, they are ways to express an opinion that the system itself is going to have some problems.
When it comes to haven assets, the gold standard remains, well, you know.
This gold.
I'll also give my take here. It's not that I don't see that argument, and maybe it'll be true. I'm certainly no expert on crypto, but my feeling is and always has been that if there was real problems, crypto would sell off just with the rest of them. It would be, people would not want to hold it. They would not have the stomach to hold it like a real reserve asset in tough times. They would sell it to try to get their hands on real money they can spend. So it would tank just like the NASDAQ or tank just like that's what I think. Could be wrong, but that's why I don't hold any.
Rally speaks to the times we are living in.
Not everyone's convinced currencies and bonds are so easily replaceable. A major de-escalation of Trump's tariffs or a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine could also spur a price decline.
This is absolutely true. Maybe I'll say more, but like, if, for example, some crazy shit could happen, what if Jerome Powell holds rates steady or even raises them? The gold price would plummet that day. What if there is a big peace deal in Russia, Ukraine, and Russia gets its reserves back? That would slow things down a lot. That could really hit the gold price. What else could happen? A lot of things could happen. A lot of good news could happen that would hit the gold price a lot. But then that's good news.
Volatility is very much still in gold's fine print. Still, Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank both say they expect gains to continue for now.
With any rally, it naturally makes people worried. Is this a bubble? Is this going to pop soon? One thing it does have going for it is that the secular trends that have been supporting it over the last few years are still very much there.
It's clearly a very...
like I said that. That's a perfect way of saying it. That's how I feel about gold. That's why I've, you know, I have a naturally, I don't know, my ears just perk up. I get like, when things go vertical, when anything rallies really hard, I go, okay, wait a minute. Am I part of something weird here? Like, is this going to go wrong? And I always want to de-risk. But like the original 3 theses that I talked about when I bought the gold originally are the same. So I don't want to panic and freak the fuck out. You know, this is like the reason I did it, and it's still true. But also I hate when a lot of retail people are buying the same thing. You know, so where would you de-risk? I mean, just for short term, I always buy 6 month treasuries or whatever, and then think about it to find something else.
Very fragile geopolitical moment. Old alliances are being tested, new alliances are being formed, and I think as long as these really steep tensions do persist, then that clamor for safe haven assets such as gold is going to continue.
Interesting video. Very fucking interesting video. But I mean, dude, you know who owns the most gold? Indian households. Regular people in India. They own 25,000 metric tons of gold. 5 times more than what's stored in Fort Knox. Indian moms. God damn, they must be fucking crushing lately.